Around the time of the contract negotiations with WCW and Scott, and then you leaving, I was talking to Vince McMahon semi-regularly during that time, and I've got quotes that we just put up in some back issues of the Pro Wrestling Torch newsletter from 20 years ago of Vince, and he was, gracious about you and Scott. And, I mean, it was, passive-aggressive. I think they will find that the grass is not always greener where it might appear to be, that kind of thing. But his attitude was, I'm not going to stand in the way of people, independent contractors doing what they think is best for their career. Do you think Vince genuinely, in retrospect, holds it against you for not staying loyal? And do you think that, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels didn't jump? Is there some residual positives for that compared to how he looks at you and Scott?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that Mark and Shawn are taken care of, a lot better than we are.
Yeah.
And they should be. I mean, it's such a double-edged sword. It's if we don't go, does the Attitude Era happen?
I know.
It was such a different, WWE, because I'm programmed now where I can't even say WWF.
Yeah.
But WWE, everybody was like an occupation at that time. Dennis fighting the hog farmer, who was fighting the plumber, and
it wasn't cool.
No, and the NWO had, guys in T-shirts with baseball bats.
During the height of the NWO, did you ever think there was a chance of Shawn Michaels getting out of his contract and jumping to WCW? I remember when Shawn and Brett were in the midst of their tumultuous summer of '97, there were rumblings of this happening. Kevin, thanks for all your work and the incredible memories associated with them.
I think that there was like we talked to Taker, we talked to Shawn, we were trying to get those two guys. They were the two that that I think everybody knew was kind of the cornerstone of the WWE. And I think that Shawn thought about it, but there was never looking and see what I can get or any of that kind of a thing. It was never. I always find it odd that Taker changed his dead man to like a biker gimmick that was a little bit more easy to take someplace else.
Yeah.
During that time period.
Yeah.
Because there was no way that you were going to be able to take the Undertaker character with you. So I thought it was just kind of strange, coincidentally strange, that he became American Badass at that point. Maybe he was thinking, maybe he wasn't, I don't know, but I'm not going to put words in Mark's mouth. But as I watched it, I thought there was a chance that we'd get one of them, but we didn't.
Have you ever had a moment of regret about jumping instead of sticking it out with Vince and taking down Bischoff and WCW with whatever they were able to bring to the table if you had stayed with Vince?
I can't look back because my wife was, in June, my wife was 9 months pregnant when I left. I left June 6th, my son was born June 12th. So 6 days after I left, to go to WCW, and I knew that I was going from a 330-day calendar to a 160-day calendar.
Yeah.
And I knew for the first time since I'd been in the business, I knew exactly what I was going to get, and it allowed me to buy a bigger home, because it was like I could actually count on what I was getting, not wondering about what I was going to get at WrestleMania, whether I was going to have a good year or not.
Or get injured and have your pay drop by 2/3.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was just from just a business standpoint, and that's at that point what it was. It was just a standpoint. What was best for my family, and for my family, the best move was to go to Turner.
Yeah.
And I'll never look back at that. It wasn't a decision that I made overnight. I went back and forth 50 times on that thing.
Wow. Twice a time with your family and guaranteed pay makes it actually a pretty easy thing to, you might imagine what would have happened, but you don't regret what you did.
No, but it still didn't make it. Even with all those variables, it still made it probably the hardest decision of my life.
Wow.
To leave Vince. Vince created me. I wouldn't have been in that situation to get that money without Vince creating that character.